Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Franchise Interviews. For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 6 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show. Today we're talking about dadpreneurs and franchising. You know, recent studies have shown that in the past 10 years, the number of work-from-home dads has more than doubled. And our first guest will be Erik Flores, a franchisee to Chem-Dry. And Erik is an example of a work-from-home dad who left a career outside of the home to launch businesses that would allow him the flexibility and independence that only a home-based franchise provides. And that's coming right up on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 6 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews. And as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. Today we're talking about dadpreneurs and franchising. You know, and recent studies have shown that in the past 10 years, the number of work-from-home dads has more than doubled. And our first guest today is going to be Erik Flores, who is a franchisee to Chem-Dry. And Erik is an example of a work-from-home dad who left a career outside of home to launch businesses that would allow him the flexibility and independence that only home-based franchises provide. Hey, Erik, how you doing today? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great, Marty. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thanks, Erik, for coming on the show. Erik, I always like to ask our guests where you're calling from this morning.
I'm calling from Plainview, Texas.
Oh, nice. How's the weather there today?
Today is beautiful. We've had some cold weather, but today it's in the 70s, so we're enjoying it.
Wow, that's fantastic. Here in Pennsylvania, it's pretty cold here, Eric, so I wish I was in Texas right now. You appreciate the warm weather, especially this time of year. You have a great story. For our listeners who don't know, if you could tell us a little bit about Chem-Dry and what is Chem-Dry, Eric?
Yeah, definitely. Well, Chem-Dry has been around for over 35 years.
Wow,
and
okay.
The founder of Chem-Dry is actually named a gentleman named Robert Harris,
who
was a chemist. And one day he was on an airplane, and he overheard a flight attendant offer a passenger some club soda to remove a stain from his clothing. And at that time, he just started going to work with that. And now, Chem-Dry uses a proprietary. We use our proprietary hot extraction cleaning process known for providing a deeper, healthier, and faster drying carpet. We also do clean upholstery. Chem-Dry is worldwide. We're in over 47 countries, and there's over 3,500 franchisees worldwide.
That's amazing. Chem-Dry does have a great, and very recognizable brand name, Eric. I was saying earlier that, I was surprised we haven't had Chem-Dry on the show. We've been doing the show 6 years now, and there's such a big brand name, in your industry. So, it was one of the reasons I was very excited to have you on the show today. And it's always great stories, too, like when you get to hear, I didn't know that story that you were telling about, the founder of the company. And there's always interesting stories how the company, evolved, like they get that little spark, what I mean, that creates a franchise, that now you're up to 3,500 franchises, 47 countries. That's amazing. What was it about Chem-Dry, Eric? We have a lot of listeners to our show. And we call them aspiring franchipreneurs, and they're in your boat, at one time where you're looking for a franchise. How did you know which one to go with? I mean, what was it about Chem-Dry? Was it the brand recognition? Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Definitely. Well, what got me, Marty, was my brother. He owned Chem-Dry.
He did? Okay,
purchasing it.
Okay,
yes, sir.
great.
And I remember one day I went with him on a job. He needed an extra hand. His guy got sick, and he was going to do upholstery in a vehicle for a gentleman.
Right.
And at that moment, I became a believer. I'm the type of person, I had to see it to believe it, and I saw what it did in this nasty vehicle, and I thought to myself, I said, man, I wonder if I could. I always detail cars. I love to have my cars clean. And at that time, me and him began to talk, and I launched off on my own, and I purchased a building, and I started detailing here in town, here in Plainview.
Wow.
And after about 6 months of just hustling, trying to get people to hear about Chem-Dry and upholstery, I launched off, and I became the #1 detailer in my area for 4 years running.
Wow, that's fantastic. Congratulations on that. And I think probably could, it's great as you're telling the story too, Eric, because, you were sold, you're a believer in Chem-Dry, aren't you? We had a guest on our show last week, and she was saying how important it is to believe in the franchise that you're buying, and that's just a great segue in from last week's show as well. So that's fantastic that you said that. You have an interesting background as well. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what you were doing before you decided then to launch the Chem-Dry business, Eric.
Yes, sir. I was detailing. I had to detail because I felt with Chem-Dry I was untouchable. With what I was doing on the inside of vehicles, I named my business Untouchable Detailing, and with the Chem-Dry product and everything, I was untouchable. At the time, there was nobody that could do anything that I could do on the inside of the cars. And prior to that, I was working for another gentleman, subcontracting for Walmart distribution. And as we did that, I saw what it could do. So now, after seeing what it could do, I got my business, and I did that for a very long time. But then my brother, we started a church here in Plainview, and he was, we've had it for 4 years. This month will be our anniversary on the 15th. But he just said, I want to go full-time ministry, and I want to sell Chem-Dry. And I told my wife, we have to buy this. I don't know what we're going to have to do, but I put my business up for sale. And really, I was renting my building, so all I really did was sell my name and a gentleman gave me what I wanted for it, just for the name. I didn't leave him with no Chem-Dry. I didn't leave him. He wasn't able to use Chem-Dry in his vehicles, but because we established such a great name in our community through Chem-Dry, he bought it with no hesitation.
Wow, that's
None
fantastic.
at all. And it's been amazing. It's provided me a lot of time. You know, of course, I do ministry. I was
right. Up
until 4 months ago, I was the youth pastor at our church, and now I'm a director at a church. And with Chem-Dry and being my own boss and setting my own hours, I have the liberty to set my hours. I get to travel. I have employees that work for me. It's awesome. It's amazing the time that I have. And then I'm a father of 3. I have a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And, you know, my wife, she works second shift at a Cargill. It's a meat plant, which, you know, we just found out was closing down. And it's pretty devastating to some people. But, again, Chem-Dry is a great source. We're not worried about it. It's been amazing because she works second shift. I'm what they call, they try to say I'm a stay-at-home dad, but I'm not. I'm an entrepreneur that's able to be there for my family, be there for ministry, and also, again, we've kept a name in our community where people know Chem-Dry as somebody that will carry themselves with respect, honor, and what we do, we say we do.
Yeah, and, you know, it's interesting when I was reading about your background too, you know, before the show, Erik. You know, you definitely have the characteristics, I would say, you know, of I was saying like a serial entrepreneur. You know,
definitely.
I can see that, you know, you look for those opportunities, you know, and I think that's fantastic. And you know, there has been a term that has been going around the last, you know, several years. They're using it as a dadpreneur, you know, and you know, for our guests, you know, who have never heard the term before, you know, what does that mean, and how does Chem-Dry fit into the picture?
Well, let me tell you this is how I see it. I'm an example of a man of a work from home type of dad.
Mm-hmm.
I left a career of detailing and everything, which I had that, but it wasn't at home. I was at a business. I had to be somewhere, but here I get to launch my business from home. I get on the line.
Right.
My hours are flexible. I'm independent and I'm home based. I no longer have to pay rent at another building, water at another building, electricity at another building. I get to combine that in my home, and being a home based franchise, it provides me the ability to be at home with my family when I need. I have responsibilities with, like I said, I have 3 children. I have a local church who I serve, and you know, it's just. I get to devote my time to my business, of course, but even before business. A lot of people try to put business before family. My family has to come first. Now, Chem-Dry, it is there, but that helps me provide for my family, so it's just great for me during, you know, to be there for my kids after school. My kids train in jiu-jitsu. I get to be there, and I was in a single-parent home, and I did a lot of things. I played basketball and everything, so I didn't really have the opportunity to look in the stands and have my parents sitting there. Most of the time I was at a game and my mom was working. She had to work. And here my kids get to know their dad's gonna be there because I get to set my own hours. So that's what a dadpreneur is, where it's flexible. And with Chem-Dry, the opportunities that the franchise provides is just amazing.
It's interesting because it's you knew, Erik, you know, in listening to and reading about you, you know, what your priorities were, you know, and you know, we emphasize that a lot on the show, you know, as we tell our guests, you know, ask yourself the question, you know, what's important to you? And, you know, I know in asking you that question, you know, first and foremost is your family, you know, is first and foremost above anything, you know. So it just seems like Chem-Dry was a perfect fit, you know, for what you were looking to do. And again, you know, there's a lot of benefits, of course, as you were saying, to working from home. In addition to, you know, being able to be there for, you know, your children. You know, you mentioned about, you know, the low cost in rent, of course, you know, and all those other things, you know, that come with getting a big office at times too, you know, and location and all that other stuff. I think that's very, very attractive, you know. With tech, you know, some franchises, technology has had I guess you could say, a big impact in their franchise. Has technology played a role in your business, Erik?
Absolutely.
It has.
Harris Research is Harris Research is a parent company of Chem-Dry, And then now we have the NATS, Revolutionary Wood Renewal. See, now the founder of Chem-Dry, he was an innovator. He had played a big business part in as a business role model. And Chem-Dry recently released, just right now this in the last couple of years, a new system called an XTS, which an XTS is an advanced portable unit with a crossover truck mount system. Now, I don't have it yet. Now, I'm going to emphasize on the word yet. We are absolutely, positively going to try to get this crossover truck mount.
Right.
It's innovation. Chem-Dry is a green carpet cleaning company. Nobody in the industry uses green methods. Chem-Dry is a green company because its main cleaning solution is the natural. Everything we have is green certified, sir. So with the technology and everything that's playing in our business, we know that most places, like I do a lot of nursing homes and hospitals and schools. The first thing you go into people's houses, well, is that going to harm my children and my pets? Absolutely not. I can actually get my solution, pour it in a glass of water, and drink it from the cup.
Wow.
And I've had a lady ask me to do it because she's like, you're saying it. I've had a lady ask me to do it, and nothing happened to me.
That's fascinating.
Could I have some ice with it because it was hot?
That's fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a great story. And you're right. It is so important. I know when we had our first son, 5 years ago, Eric, I mean, my wife changed. She became a fanatic with the whole carpet and the whole green concept. It just seems so much more important to people today. I don't remember talking about those things like, 10, 20, 30 years ago. It's so important to many people out there today. So I think that's very clever that, Chem-Dry is taking advantage of that opportunity. What was the training like? I mean, when you got involved in the whole thing, was there training, Eric?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay.
Training was amazing. We drove up to Logan, Utah, where the Chem-Dry headquarters is. Upon arrival, we didn't know what to expect. We were a little bit nervous. We didn't know who we were going to meet. And as we got there, it was so family-orientated. I had, they had a contest. Right when you get to have this contest, they give you a piece of paper, and they see how many people that you could find out their names as the employees there. And, a lot of them would just ask, certain things. I would ask each person, how long have you worked here? Because I want to know, if I'm coming into this business, I want to know that this is a good business. The majority of the people have been there 15 years, 7 years. I think the one person that I met had been there less than 6 months, and that's because they were a rehire, and they were there 13 years prior, but she had to move for her husband. And I think I won the contest because I like to talk. I asked as many people, and they gave me free case of our solution. When we got there, we stayed in a hotel. We were not far from the building. Each morning we'd go in there, and you go into some places and you want to fall asleep, and you get drowsy, and the training is. I'm amazed that in 1 week I could get the training that I needed to continue what my brother had established, and he'd been doing it for 7 years himself. And 1 week of training each morning.
That's amazing.
They blessed us with lunch. They blessed us with dinner. I didn't have to pay anything but the gas cost and my hotel cost to get there. And, normally if you travel, you look at all your expenses. You look at, food and this and that, and they took care of everything for us. The training there is hands down the best training, and I've done some other trainings at other businesses, and that's the best. It was family-orientated. It was fun, exciting, interesting. I mean, they also, we would do like role playing, like if we walked into your house. If I went to your house, Marty, they showed me how to treat you, how not to arrive. It was amazing because I did business at my house, but now I'm coming into your own personal space. I'm coming into your bedroom. Your bedroom, my bedroom. My mom doesn't go in my bedroom. I'm a married man. Most people, it's an intimate place. You don't allow some people into your bedroom, and they showed us these things, and for that, I'm grateful because now I go into the house and with confidence, I can talk to a customer. I can, if they have a red stain, what I've been trained, I can get that I can get that stain out, and if I can't get it out, I can guarantee you nobody can get it out. That is our motto with Chem-Dry.
That's powerful. And you said some interesting things, Erik, in talking about the training. You mentioned, and it sounds like, the hot button, too, for Chem-Dry for you was that it was family-oriented because you're a family-oriented person, So it seemed like there was a match in culture, you know what I mean? Your values and their values, and it's one of the things I love most about having people like yourself on the show is, talking to the franchisees, because you've actually done it, you're doing it. So I think that's so important. You also mentioned, the training sounds like it's fantastic at Chem-Dry, and, for a lot of our listeners, too, some of them are just thinking about buying a franchise. They don't know. They say, should I buy a franchise or should I start my own carpet cleaning franchise, and we'll call it Joe's Carpet Cleaning, So it sounds like the training was a big factor for you, too, because you learned a lot in a 1 week period of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Now, with that, every year, too, we have additional training. Like
you
next
do?
month,
Okay.
I go to, we follow up on a different training, and they also have them, this year it's in Vegas. Last year it was in Cancun. There's different ones that you can make it to. If you can't make it, that's all right. There's one close to you at some time during the year. So it's amazing. It's a continually growing process with Chem-Dry. They do not want us to grow stagnant. Our scientists are working around the clock to get us in there and to make sure that we are the best.
That's fantastic. And I guess you have to, especially in your industry, too. With the changes, like, of course, the big one, you were mentioning about the whole green concept, is and the new technology that's available with the truck mount system that you were talking about as well. So my big question for you is this, Erik. Again, last month it was over 18,000 listeners to the show. What would you say to those 18,000 listeners that are looking to buy a franchise? What advice would you give to them? Because you're doing it and you're doing it successfully, and we find that a lot of them, they don't even know where to begin, most of them. We get, all sorts of emails with all sorts of questions, where do I start? What industry should I look for? We get questions all the time, what's the best franchise? And how do you answer that question, So what would you say to them?
Well, you asked the question, what's the best franchise? I, myself, I'm going to say Chem-Dry. I know that's what they're going to have. Chem-Dry is the best franchise. What we did, of course, I got to have hands-on experience. I had an advantage over most people. But what I would suggest doing is research. Research in anything. You want to get the facts about it. If I was going to go into a steaming business or a carpet cleaning business, I want the facts of what this business can do, who they are, what they're about. I have to see it to believe it. Okay, if I want to do steaming and that's what I'm going to do, I need to find out what it can do and what it can't do. And when we saw what Chem-Dry could do and couldn't do, there was not very much that it couldn't do. So the fact of everything is get facts and don't look. If you look at everything you read on the internet, you're going to have the pros and cons out of everything. You find the best thing because people smash different businesses on the internet. That's one thing they taught us. Don't disrespect your competitors. I mean, if you tell me, well, what about steam and shampoo? I'm not going to put them down. I'm just going to tell you what I can do. And the internet. A lot of people now do research on the internet. You could research Chem-Dry, and you'll have somebody, a disgruntled employee or disgruntled customer, or whatever. Just really get the facts, and that's one thing that really sold me. There were facts. It was proven. I saw results. A company that wasn't going to be a good company is going to have good results.
That's well said, yeah.
I know Chem-Dry with as many franchises it has, and it's worldwide, not just in the U.S., worldwide, where big businesses are using Chem-Dry. I know that they have a good history report for people that are, and then you hear testimonies online. You can go to testimonials where people are like, wow, I had this stain, I had this. And not just for Chem-Dry, but if they're trying to get any other type of business, which I did, and I'm not, trying to, because I'm a minister. I prayed about it. Me and my wife got together, we prayed about it, and we said, okay, is this something that we want to do? How will it affect my life? How will it affect our children's life? And because of that, I'm going to tell you right now, I moved from a little bitty town, and then I moved to Plainview, which is a little bit bigger than the town I was in. I'm living in a neighborhood that most people say I shouldn't live in at 32 years old. Thanks to Chem-Dry.
Amazing. It's amazing. And it's, speaking to guys like yourself, women like yourself, this is the whole reason we started the show, was to talk to, we call them like franchipreneurs,
Yes.
People who became an entrepreneur, but they took the franchise route, and they've achieved this great success, through franchising. So it's interesting, and also the passion in you talking about it too, Erik, is amazing. What's next for you then? I mean, if you had a crystal ball, and you said, okay, 5 years down the road or 10 years, have you thought about that? Like, where
absolutely
you see the business?
Yes, sir, absolutely. In 5 years, my goal of 5 years. There's territorials, and where I'm at, what the great thing is, I'm in between Lubbock, Texas, and Amarillo, Texas. There's a Chem-Dry in Amarillo. There's a Chem-Dry in Lubbock. Now, we have a territory where we honor each other's territory. I won't go in. There's an imaginary line that I can't go past that. So it keeps us from stealing each other's business. But in my area, there's a lot of open territory, and our goal is to purchase more territory, purchase more trucks and more vans. And it's not just me that loves Chem-Dry. My kids love Chem-Dry. My kids talk about one day running their own van, running their own area, having their own turf, where our ultimate goal for Chem-Dry is to provide our children with businesses of their own where they don't have to run it, where they could go to school and do this and have a steady income and not have to worry about it. I'm trying to leave an inheritance for my children's children's children through Chem-Dry. That is
powerful.
To have the ability to, matter of fact, today my little 6-year-old is at work with me. He had the day off. His school gave him the day off for a snow day. And he said, Dad, I'm going to work. And he comes to work with me because it's just, he loves it. He's been claiming it. He's the little one, but he tells my older ones, this is mine. This one's mine. Y'all going to have to get the other ones because when I get older, I'm going to run this. So that is our goal.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's great that you have the whole family involved in it too, Erik. We talk also a lot on the show, and you gave a lot of great, or you emphasized a lot of great lessons that we've been talking about the last 6 years. Is family support, and you can see that you certainly have it with your family. You know what I mean? Is that, and you also sound like you have someone who you've identified what your motivation is. Of course, your family, which of course again makes you want to work harder, get bigger, expand, and just keep doing what you're doing, and just treating life with passion. It sounds like in talking to you. So it's really very refreshing. What's the best way? Do you have a website, Erik, that our listeners can go to if they wanted to, like if they were in your area? Is there any websites that you reference? I mean, what's the website for Chem-Dry anyway? Is it chemdry.com or? Yes,
sir. You could go to chemdry.com.
Okay.
And then you just list it. You type in your zip code. See, for me, it's actually it's amazing because they help us so much. There's a national call center. So, like me as a franchise, I don't have to get so bogged down making appointments. We have a call center that, say, somebody comes to the area, they're new to our area, and they've heard of Chem-Dry somewhere, and they just put the zip code in, and the call center will make appointments for me as well. So a lot of times I get leads from potential customers typing in zip codes just into the Chem-Dry website. So there's a variety of ways that they help us. As of right now, of course, I'm in the phone book. I'm in the internet on my own. But sometimes people can't. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, I heard that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I could talk to you all day, Erik. I'm going to have to invite you back to the show next year because, it's, as I said, it's great to speak with someone with such passion, and it sounds like Chem-Dry was a perfect match for you, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. It's been a blessing to me and my family and our community.
That's fantastic. I want to thank you again, Erik. You have a great day, and we'll have you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marty. You have a great day.
Thanks, Erik, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Interviews For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919. Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities, or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, Don and I have been hosting Franchise Interviews now for almost 2 years, with 100 shows under our belt, and during that time frame we've had some incredible guests and some incredible quotes on the show. Today you're going to get to hear from the Chief Executive Officer of the Rita's Franchise Opportunity, and take a listen to what Jim says about trust, respect, and belief. And for the very first time with our partnership with Blog Talk Radio, Franchise Interviews is now allowing some unique sponsorship opportunities to franchisors to help you reach a large audience of prospective franchisees. So enjoy. Here's a message from our sponsor, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising.
Franchise Interviews. For over 2 years now, Franchise Interviews has been giving you an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship.
Through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising.
And our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, experts, and attorneys.
And our free franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919.
That's 610-905-2919.
For our partners, what is it that we're looking for? So separate from the commitment and the passion and the integrity and wanting to work hard, you need to do something else for that franchisor. And so whether it's Rita's or it's, I heard you talk about the other concept that you have coming on, you need to do 3 things with that franchisor, because a franchisor does it with you. It's about trusting that franchisor, respecting the franchisor, and believing in the franchisor. Trust, respect, and believe. Because if you're going to become a franchisee, as my father used to say, we paid this fee and we pay a royalty of every dollar. It's our responsibility to be able to believe in these guys and respect them and trust them. And it's difficult over the years, 20 years with Wendy's, 19 years. I'll be very honest. There was many ups and there were many downs. But there was never a point that we never believed in the concept and we didn't respect the guys. That was very important. So what I try and express and preach to our partners, because we do it internally, and I want them to feel the same, is to trust us, believe in us, and respect us. And if you do that, then we're going to be successful together. Because if you go back to the beginning, it's why you bought the concept. And not everybody should be a franchisee, but if you take that route and you make the commitment of a franchisee, then do as the company suggests and recommends. Because go back to why you made the decision to become a franchisee, and the headlines, to trust them, respect them, and believe in them, because they do with you.
And I think you're not going to have a problem getting that with future franchisees and, of course, your stores now, because of your so many years as being a franchisee. You're thinking just like them. You know what they want and think and everything. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I wish, I got to be honest, I wish it was that simple. It isn't. Can I mention something else that I've really been working on, talking about, articulating a lot? And we've branded it the 5 C's, which I think is important, not that I think, I believe is important for this concept to be successful and to have many, many more years. We're celebrating, which is pretty historical. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary next year, which is, I remember I was with Wendy's when they did their 25th. It's a big deal. There's very few that celebrate 25 years. But anyway, we branded it at the 5 C's, and I won't go through them, but I'll just quickly give you the words. The first one is the commitment to the RETA system, and they're all self-explanatory, but that's number 1.
Right.
Number 2 is the consistency, and I really drive that from the consistency from the store operations first, but then everything that we do as a franchisor and a franchisee, we need to be consistent, because we all of us, everybody wants to do the right thing, and we all want to be good, and if we have this concept of being consistent and doing it every day, we got a better chance. The third is communication, and to me, we never get, as I say, I'm not an expert, we are constantly thinking about how to improve the communication. It is our lifeblood, it's our conduit, this is a partnership, and communication is the key to any relationship, husband and wife, siblings, whatever, it's communication. 4 is the R&D, research and development. I can go through the products that we introduced this year. We introduced one last year, and we're going to introduce more next year, is because we as customers, guests, want to have more of a variety of products. And then the last one, and probably the most important, and this is a major one, and I call it embracing change, because the world is changing quick, but it's more than change. We need, as individuals, to embrace it. We need to embrace it and be a part of it and be in support of it, because change is difficult. I guess I've gone through it. I have many experiences of being difficult with change. I'm at the opposite extreme. I look for change. I want change. I promote change, because if we're not changing, then we're going to be left behind. This world, the business world, the franchise world, the guests are changing so fast. We need to be changing with them. And it's so difficult to be embracing it. So
I think that's, great points, Jim. The change is part of life, and, even some of your, most well-known concepts, the McDonald's and so forth, always have to be going through changes and adapting and so forth. So that's a good point to have that attitude. You're like the professor, Jim. I'm here, writing frantically, taking notes. You're doing a great job here.
Thank you. That's not my intent, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Talk a little about, Jim, just about the history of readings. People love.
Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again next week with another edition of Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.